6-3. Waiting for the Royals, the Boston Red Sox, who are 30 games above 500 and are going for their 90th win of the year. A 4-game series begins tonight on Fox Sports Kansas City. Miguel Olivo during the road trip had 5 home runs, 15 RBIs, so no surprise he's in the starting lineup tonight as the Royals begin their final homestand of 2009 against the Red Sox. And welcome back to Kauffman Stadium. Ryan Lefevre with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. And the Royals might be catching the Red Sox at a bad time. They just swept the Orioles. They've won 10 of 11. But the Red Sox also might be catching the Royals at a bad time.
Well, that could be true. The Royals have really done a good job in playing teams with something to lose, and the Red Sox are no exception. But when I played, Ryan, we didn't want to play teams that were out of the race. We wanted to play teams that had something to lose, and that helped us keep our focus.
And the Royals doing it this month with a lot of offense, something they've been waiting on all season long. And over the past 2 weeks, the Royals are matching up pretty good with even the Red Sox, who have one of the best offenses in the American League. In fact, they even rank higher than them in hits and runs scored over that span. And the Royals winning games again this September like they did last September with good starting pitching.
And that's where it all starts, and that's what coming into the season, that's where we thought the Royals were going to be strong, and that was going to make them contenders this year. But they've fallen on some hard times in their starting rotation, but they've been able to come in with DiNardo and Tejeda and keep things going.
And over that same stretch, 2 weeks, here's where the Royals rank in starting pitching in the American League with the best opponent's batting average, and they have given up the fewest home runs. Tonight, the Royals will be facing Tim Wakefield, 43 years old, and the knuckleball continues to flutter. So how do you hit it? We'll try and figure that out when we come back. Panera Bread. Explore a menu full of soup, salad, sandwiches, and savory breakfast items. Panera Bread, where every detail matters. and by Thoroughbred Ford. Get the lowest price for the Clay Como built Motor Trend Truck of the Year, the 2009 F-150 at Thoroughbred Ford. Well, former Royals hitting coach Charlie Lau once said there are two theories on how to hit a knuckleball. Unfortunately, neither one works. Here's what the Royals are going to try and do tonight.
You don't ever know where it's going to move and when it's going to move, so you just do the best you can to. You got to take a middle of the field approach, and you've got to take an attack approach at the same time. That sounds contradictory, but you've got to attack a knuckleballer and see it up.
If you see it high, you swing, but if you see it where it's going to start in the zone, it's going to be out of the zone. So you got to make them be up.
You rarely see knuckleball guys, so his ball, it's unpredictable. That's what's so tough about it. One way it can go in and down, next one it can go down and away, next one just across. So it's a knuckleball. You don't have any idea what it's going to do, and maybe he doesn't either. I'm not sure. That's probably makes him so good.
Well, on one hand, Wakefield's had a good year. He's 11-4, but on the other hand, he spent a lot of time on the disabled list and has only made 2 starts since the All-Star break. Here's the Kia scouting report for tonight.
But even though Raw's hitters are doing pretty good against Wakefield, Ryan, the thing they have to do is wait. You want to wait to the very last minute, so you got to take your body out of it, and you want to trust your hands, and try not to hit doubles and home runs, but try to hit singles and try to hit the ball down the line, and you should stay on it pretty good.
The lineup that will face Wakefield tonight, presented by M&I Bank, and the Royals really don't have a lot of experience against Tim Wakefield. Miguel Olivo has 11 career at-bats. Yuniesky Betancourt has 10. Other than that, everyone in the lineup tonight has fewer than 10 career at-bats against Tim Wakefield. Willie Bloomquist will be filling a couple of roles tonight. He'll be playing in right field as Mark Teahan isn't quite ready to come back, and he'll be leading off as David DeJesus is still out of the lineup. Royals and the Red Sox, the first pitch is next. With digital cable. So the Boston Red Sox coming tonight, winners of 10 of their last 11, And they've won 9 of their last 11 against the Royals, including 3 out of 4 this year. His lineup presented by M&I Bank, and this will be our first look at Victor Martinez in a Red Sox uniform. He'll be batting third, and the Red Sox have said that he has actually been better than they were expecting. And now he has the role of catching the knuckleballer Tim Wakefield. Lenny DiNardo making his third start for the Royals. Here's the Kia scouting report.
But when you look at those first time, second time, third time through, Ryan, it seems like the hitters get better as they go through the lineup. But if he pitches the way he did his last time out, inducing early ground balls, then he should get deep into this ball game.
He'll need a lot of help from his defense, a pitcher that induces contact. And tonight it's Meyer, Anderson, and Bloomquist in the outfield. Gordon, Betancourt, Callaspo, and Butler around the horn. And Miguel Olivo behind the plate. Lenny's first 2 starts were both against the Tigers, and there was one big difference. In his first start, the Royals turned 3 double plays behind him. In his second start, the Royals were 0 for 3 in double play opportunities.
Well, I'm sure that was disappointing in the way the defense played behind him. He did what he had to do as a pitcher. He got the ground balls. He got the right-handed hitters. They're hitting over the top of that cutter down and in. And if he can do that and they come out ready to play, and they had to be ready to play in the first inning with DiNardo, because if he got that ground ball working, he needs those early outs.
This is what he did on Wednesday, and Trey Hillman said immediately after the game, don't pay attention to this line. He pitched a lot better than giving up 4 earned runs in 5 1/3 innings. And he is on target to Jacoby Ellsbury, who leads the major leagues with 63 stolen bases. So the Royals want to keep him off the bases. And they should, as Callaspo gets a nice big hop. 2 pitches, 1 away. Well, a small gathering with the Red Sox in town. Maybe the rain scared some folks off, but we start on time. 67 degrees. Not supposed to be bothered by rain the rest of the night. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. And DiNardo throws a strike to Dustin Pedroia, who had 9 hits and 5 runs scored when the Royals were in Boston right before the All-Star break. Royals taking game 1 of the series, and then Boston coming back and winning the next 3.
He's one of the few guys, Ryan, that likes the ball up. He can hit the fastball up as well as anybody.
DiNardo got him to reach. Gordon's throw just got him. So 2 ground balls, 2 outs.
But as we said at the top of the show, they got to be ready to play at the very first inning, very first pitch with DiNardo, because he really needs these routine ground balls to turn in the outs.
And that'll bring up Victor Martinez, who carries with him to the box tonight a 19-game hitting streak. And DiNardo throws strike 1. So all the Red Sox picked up at the trading deadline was a number 3 hitter from the Indians. Cleveland getting right-hander Justin Masterson. And I'm sure the Red Sox knew they were getting a very good player when they got Martinez, but he's been a lot better than they thought. Of course, in Cleveland, he wasn't just a good player on the field, but he was the emotional leader of the Indians in the clubhouse. Has a great passion for winning, which really rubbed off on his teammates, so he fits in very well in Boston.
Well, I really liked it because he was doing all this from the catching position. He started to play a little bit more first base, so that gives you an idea of just what kind of year Mauer's having as a catcher, possibly MVP candidate, definitely candidate, but possibly MVP of the league this year. But when you can catch and hit like these 2 guys, it makes you a little bit more special in my book.
Line to center, and Anderson has to block it. So a 20-game hitting streak for Victor Martinez.
That's one of those line drives that Martinez hits here that Anderson really didn't just sell out completely to making this play. He kind of hesitated a little bit, and that might have been the difference in making that play or not. they're really fortunate they were able to keep this ball in front of it. The wet turf and everything, and you got to really make sure that you don't get too aggressive in the situation where you just give up the base hit.
Outside of Kevin Youkilis, yeah, it only stopped raining a little over an hour ago, so certainly it is a playable field, but it's a wet field.
And it's one you don't know about because you haven't been out there to take fly balls and see how the ball comes off. So it could hit, come up. Fortunately, that one came up, but it could also hit and skip low and get right by it.
Two and one on Youkilis, who is hitting .309. That's 8th best in the league. But his on-base percentage is 100 points better than that, actually. .417. That's the 2nd best in the American League. And DiNardo evens the count at 2-2. DiNardo drafted by the Mets. That was in 01, but he went to the Red Sox in the Rule 5 draft in 03 and made his big league debut with Boston. Missed the slow roller, and Youkilis is going to reach. Somebody needs to cover third base. And Miguel Olivo, who had started running up the first base line, realized that nobody was interested in covering the bag, so he ran across the diamond.
Well, this is when Gordon or Betancourt got to pull back and say that to run on second base. And once this ball got by DiNardo and Alex came across, then Betancourt's got to really hot-footed over to third base to keep that base runner from getting by. Then again, that's a play there where Gordon and Betancourt have to communicate. You know, when two guys are at the ball like that, that should be one guy going for the ball and the other guy backing up. That's a play that, from DiNardo's standpoint, looked like an easy ball to handle.
So instead of the inning being over, they're 2 on for Jason Bay and his 110 RBIs. Strike over the outside corner. Hitting just .268, but with runners in scoring position, it moves up to .344. Oh and 2. There's a young fan who got a souvenir being in the right place at the right time. Only Mark Teixeira of the Yankees has more RBIs than Jason Bay. Bay also 3rd in the league with 35 home runs. All 4 of those sluggers from the Eastern Division. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jason Bay coming over from the Pirates last year at the trading deadline in a deal that sent Manny Ramirez to the Dodgers. And he has fit in very nicely in Boston. The Red Sox would love to have him back, but he's going to test the free agent market. And it should be a lucrative offseason for him no matter where he goes. He'll have a chance at 120 RBIs and possibly 40 home runs.
Well, you just can't argue with those numbers. And what other place could you can get those great numbers in Boston? And Boston is a super place for right-handed hitters to hit.
Gordon diving on the left side, down to second, and the force on Youkilis. Red Sox scoreless in the first.
said he did pass on that in spring training. He had 2 hits against Phil Niekro. George Brett bet him that day he wouldn't get any, but he said Niekro, the only fastballs he threw that day were right down the pipe to split, so he got a couple of hits. As for doing well against Wilbur Wood, Rhino, your partner up there, might know a thing about that. 591 lifetime.
Wow. Well, he talked about his approach against the Knucklers, as Bloomquist is going to be retired by Wakefield for the first time. Willie had been 2 for 2 with a walk. Frank talked about his go for the singles approach against the Knuckler.
But it doesn't. You don't want to overswing, because knuckleball always seems to make a move. Right, as soon as you say I'm going to swing, it makes a late move on you. So just try to wait till the very last minute. Trust your hands to work for you, and just whatever comes after that, that's what you have to do. But I always try to go line to line and not try to stay up the middle, because up the middle is the ball usually pull foul. So I just try to hit the ball right down the first baseline and hope I can hit a line drive someplace. But I tell you what, regardless of how well you do against them, it's a mind-boggling night at the end of the night, because you see the ball do some funny stuff.
And it can do something different every time, right?
Every single time, yes. That's why I say it's hard to have an approach other than wait. When you say make them get it up, but it can be up, and when you start to swing it, it'll be down. So it's all about waiting till the last possible minute to swing.
To first, and Youkilis again to the bag, unassisted. Wakefield really has turned out to be a great story for the Red Sox. Here's the defense behind him tonight. Jason Bay, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Rocco Baldelli in the outfield. Mike Lowell, Alex Gonzalez, who has just traded to the Sox, with Pedroia and Youkilis on the infield, and Victor Martinez behind the plate. Strike on Billy Butler. Wakefield in 1995 was signed to a minor league contract by the Red Sox. He had been released by the Pirates. And now, in 2009, he is second all-time in games pitched and third in wins. 1-2-3, bottom of the first inning. DiNardo retired Jason Bay, and now he gets David Ortiz, Mike Lowell, and Rocco Baldelli.
This is the David Ortiz shift here, Ryan, and I tell you, we've seen this on a number of hitters this year, and none of those hitters, other than maybe Pena down in Tampa Bay, he tried to bunt. So I don't think David Ortiz is going to try to bunt right here. He's try to knock it right through the shift.
24 home runs this year. including his 270th as a designated hitter last week, establishing a new major league record. Frank Thomas had the record prior to Ortiz. Well, that's interesting. He's pretty even according to these numbers, right field and left field, with the majority of his hits going to center. Of course, that could also be right center field, depending on how they keep track of those numbers.
He's always had a lot of power in the left center field, and when you're in Boston, that ball's going off the wall, so that has to help him in that direction. But when you look at his average and the numbers he's been able to put together, that average, he's really rebounded to have a pretty productive season.
All 4 outs on the ground for Lenny DiNardo.
Well, you see where this is just straight up. This is like pull position for a second baseman against a right-handed hitter where Betancourt is, and you see where this ball rolls right by DiNardo's glove again, and easy play for Betancourt.
And ball 1 to Mike Lowell, who spent some time on the disabled list. In fact, he was on the DL when the Royals were in Boston before the All-Star break. Similar to Alex Gordon, he had surgery on a hip because of some damaged cartilage. He had surgery during the offseason, and it was still bothering him this year. 2 balls, 1 strike. Alex with surgery on his right hip. That would be his front hip. For Lowell, it would be his back hip as a right-hand batter. 3-1. A 1-out walk. So a 1 on 1 out. Well, you can catch Big 12 football on Fox Sports Kansas City Saturday as the Jayhawks face Southern Miss. You can catch the game live on Fox Sports Kansas City with coverage beginning at 11 a.m. Part of a Big 12 doubleheader, including KU and Southern Miss. Ball 1 on Rocco Baldelli. And now Miguel Olivo out to visit with DiNardo. Rocco Baldelli once a shining light in the Tampa Bay Rays organization, their first-round pick in 2000 out of high school. 2 years later, he was in the big leagues. And not long after that, they signed him to a 6-year contract extension. But then a flood of injuries. And he spent a couple of times on the disabled list this year with the Red Sox. Into left center field. That's a long run for Anderson. Lowell on his way to third. And Josh will play it to second base, keeping the double play in order. First and third, 1 out.
Well, Baldelli gets a changeup, Ryan. He really gets his ball through the infield in fine shape because maybe the wet grass, the ball slows down. Anderson did have a play at third base on Lowell, who didn't like he was running too well, but the smart play probably was to throw it to second base and keep the double play in order.
By the way he went first to third, I would guess the hip is still bothering him.
Yeah, he didn't look very smooth at all right there, and that's probably his dominant leg, since that's his back leg that he hits off of.
So the Red Sox with 2 base runners for the second straight inning. And now Alex Gonzalez, who was traded over from the Reds in the middle of August, had one of the best defensive seasons of his career in 06 with the Red Sox. And Butler into foul ground makes the play. So DiNardo making a big pitch to get the second out. Lowell has to hold it third. And now now the top of the order, and Jacoby Ellsbury opened the game with a ground ball to second base.
Then you get that first and third situation, and as a defensive player in the infield, you really don't know what kind of ball you're going to get. But anytime you get a pop-up like that on the infield and you just feel that big sigh of relief go through your body, and you can't wait for it to come down.
A little bit outside to Ellsbury. Right to Betancourt. That ball had a lot of slice on it, but he handles the spin, throws him out, and the Red Sox, for the second straight inning, strain 2. Three ground balls in the bottom of the first inning. Jacobs, a tough road trip, 3 out of 25. That's 120. And he comes in tonight 0 for his last 10, and that has his average under 230. Victor Martinez having a tough time with those last 2 pitches. He is catching Wakefield with a first baseman's glove. So it's not the modified catcher's glove that Doug Mirabelli used for years when he caught Wakefield with the Red Sox. And apparently what we're seeing tonight is the exception. Apparently Victor Martinez, in his first game catching Wakefield, the very first pitch to him sailed past him to the backstop, and he hadn't had trouble with one since, so he adjusted very quickly. Red Sox every year would have a designated backup catcher who could handle the knuckleball.
That's pretty interesting, catching, not only catching with a first baseman's mitt, but also doesn't have a batting glove underneath that first baseman's mitt, which is what he would probably have if he had a catcher's mitt. So that gives you an idea of the difference in velocity between what he's used to catching and catching Tim Wakefield's knuckleball.
Wakefield with his first strikeout. Tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. We ask you, who has the best pitch? Is it Zach Greinke's slider, Tim Lincecum's curveball, Justin Verlander's fastball, or the Tim Wakefield knuckleball? Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, followed by a space, A, B, C, or D.
Now, this is going to be a tough You Call It for the fans tonight, because you got a whole variety there, and the knuckleballer being the stranger of the group.
1-1 on Callaspo. Zach has that sleeve on his right arm, but he is still scheduled to pitch tomorrow against Paul Bird. Really no serious ill effects after being hit by that line drive in his last start in Detroit by Miguel Cabrera. Two and two on Callaspo, who had a great road trip. He had 10 RBIs, 5 doubles, and a home run in Cleveland, Detroit, and Chicago. And he is batting right-handed against Tim Wakefield.
I think because his stroke's a little bit shorter on the right-handed side than from the left-handed side, so that might be the reason he opted to go right-handed. He wants to, we could probably wait a little bit longer, and he likes to hit the ball the other way.
Pulls it to Lowell, who has to straddle the bag, making the throw. 2 down.
You know, that always makes the pitcher feel good too when they see a guy have to go through all these changes just to face me.
Well, as far as you call it goes, if you haven't seen all the 4 pitches, here they are. Here's Zach's slider to Myceres Turris. Lincecum has the big curveball that froze Jose Guillen last year in interleague play. Verlander anywhere from 97 to 100 with a fastball. And then the knuckler. Zach going for win number 15 tomorrow. Paul Bird, former Royal, will pitch for the Red Sox. Miguel Olivo, 5 home runs, 15 RBIs on the trip. So 23 home runs on the year. So he has just shattered his previous career high, which was 16.
I talked to him before the game about how much success he's having. He said the one thing he's trying to do is just keep that lead arm inside the ball and not let his top hand take over. I mean, we talked about that home run he hit just inside the foul pole there in Chicago, but mainly it's just no matter where the ball's hit, just take that lead arm inside the ball.
Some votes are in, and Zach with quite a lead, and the knuckleball coming in second place. Of course, Zach, we could use his fastball in this poll as well.
Curveball.
It's curveball. And Olivo takes a walk.
As a hitter, you don't want any of those guys.
Also coming up tomorrow with Zach Greinke on the mound, the final T-shirt Tuesday. It's a 7-10 game, and the first 20,000 fans will receive a gray short sleeve shirt saluting the Royals' 40th anniversary, presented by Sprint. It's a 4-game series with the Red Sox. All 4 games are at 7-10. So Olivo at first for Alex Gordon. A long run for 3 Red Sox, and Mike Lowell made that play look a lot easier than it actually was. in Pittsburgh during interleague play. That's when Frank and I got to meet him for the first time. A trip that took him from Kansas City to Houston to Pittsburgh back to Kansas City all by car.
Didn't see much of him in the last homestand. I thought he might have went back to school, but it's nice to see him last homestand being here.
Another hit for the Red Sox. That's their fourth. And Pedroia's 1 for 2. Tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison, and a couple of guys who are not going to light up the radar gun tonight. So if you like velocity, tonight is not your night. But if you like movement, both Wakefield and DiNardo have that. Remember, you can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. So Pedroia with that base hit has a 13-game hitting streak. And now Victor Martinez, who singled in the first inning to extend his to 20 games. $20 games is a career high for Victor Martinez. DiNardo misses outside. Martinez has been playing some first base, but getting most of the starts behind the plate. So that means that Jason Varitek, who has caught the most games in Red Sox history, has become the backup to Martinez. Three 3-0. Red Sox with 2 hits in the first inning, both stranded. A walk and a hit in a second, both stranded. So they've left 4 on base in the first 2 innings. 3 balls, 1 strike. And now 2 on, nobody out. DiNardo walks his second. And now you're getting into the middle of the order with Youkilis, Bay, and Ortiz coming up.
The Red Sox is such a good hitting ball club. You just don't need to walk anybody to put yourself in a bigger hole than you already are. Then you got to come back and be, the deeper you get in the middle, the more fine you try to be, and that's when you usually make mistakes.
Ball 1 outside, and again Olivo back out to the mound. Youkilis with an infield single his first time up.
But DiNardo got to Martinez in the first pitch of Youkilis. Normally he's trying to throw that cutter down and in and try to get the right-hander to swing over, but he's been staying away with the changeup, and it's been up and it's been on the outer part of the plate. So just going back to his bread and butter pitch, which is a cutter, what got him here, I think, they just let it see what happens. Try to get that ground ball and get that double play, keep the ball down.
1-1. A .310 hitter overall, which is in the top 10, but in situations like this, he adds quite a few points to his average. .357 with runners in scoring position. There has always been a debate, aside from the basic stats, average, home run, RBIs, but what is more important, on base percentage, guys that are constantly getting on base, or runners in scoring position, the guys that are driving in those guys on base? Well, Youkilis does both. He is second in the league in on base percentage and 5th in the league with runners in scoring position.
So he has the ability not only to drive runners in, but he can also drive himself in with the home run.
Which stat would you look at as more important than the other, on base percentage or average with runners in scoring position?
I'd say running in scoring position. Because you got to get those runners across the plate. Guys can get on all day, but if you don't have anybody that can get them across home plate, then you're really not helping yourself. You got to have a good mix anyway when you talk about it. You got to have the guys that can get on and set the table, and you got to have the guys that can hit in the clutch and bring them in.
Pedroia going to tag and move up to third base. So first and third, one out. Yeah, I think it depends on who the player is. I mean, if you're number 9, 1, 2 hitter, on base percentage is probably more important. But if you're 3, 4, 5,
you want to be able to drive those guys in. So if you look for those guys who have great on base percentage, you're really not asking for a lot, because their job is to let those guys set the table for them, and their job is to get them across the plate. So you go with the slugging percentage and runners, hitting with runners in scoring position. Those would be key to 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 guys.
Jason Bay grounded into a fielder's choice in the first inning. So 6 base runners so far for the Red Sox in less than 3 innings and no runs. And that's just the way Lenny DiNardo pitches. Some people, myself included, like to look at the WHIP statistic, walks and hits per innings pitched. So it's not just opponent's batting average, which factors in the hits. It's not just how many walks. It's a combination of the both. And DiNardo coming into tonight 1.94. So he's allowing about 2 base runners per inning. This is into deep left center field, and this time DiNardo pays the price as Bay hits a 3-run home run.
You can get hurt on your changeup, Brian, if you leave it up out over the plate. And your cutter's your best pitch, but he wants to keep trying to force that changeup in there. If that changeup doesn't fall down away from the right-handed hitter, it's going to stay out over the plate. And Jason Bay drove it into left center field for a home run.
And the first home run that DiNardo has given up. Ortiz grounded out to short his first time, although it was a ground ball to the right side of second base and into the shift.
Now just step back just a minute on your on base percentage. Just go back to Billy Butler when he was getting all the hits at number 3, and David hadn't gotten going yet. And so as soon as David Jesus got going and getting on base a lot, all of a sudden Billy's RBI production went up. So it makes a big difference what those 1, 2, 8, 9 guys do.
And obviously the flip side, if DeJesus on base percentage went way up, but Billy's not hitting with runners in scoring position,
you don't help yourself at all. So you need the good mix.
And another walk. So DiNardo has walked 3. Of course, that's going to happen quite a bit no matter who you are when you're facing the Red Sox. The Red Sox do this quite a bit. They really work over the pitchers. And just talking about Kevin Youkilis and his on base percentage, well, the Red Sox as a team are the second best in the American League. Only the Yankees have a higher on base percentage, so they are on base all night. Work long counts. Yankees on base percentage is in the 360s. That's just stunning. I mean, if you're an individual and you have a 360 on base percentage, that's pretty good. But as a team, 0-1 on Mike Lowell, and the Red Sox are at 351, and that's going to go up tonight with 5 hits and 3 walks in 2 1/3 innings. Lowell had one of those walks with 1 out in the second. One and one.
Well, a good indication on the walks. You got the Red Sox sitting with 595 walks coming into this game, and the Royals are at 411 coming into this game. So they do work the count well when you look at the number of walks per batter.
So what, 180 more?
So as a pitcher, that would tell me just go right after him and let him hit the ball, because you don't want to get beat on both sides. You don't want to walk him and then put yourself in a position for the 2-run or 3-run homer as DiNardo did. You just want to, hey, let's put the ball in play. And he had such success his last outing with the cutter down and in, inducing ground balls, and got off to a good start in this ball game with the ground ball. But it kind of was trying to establish his changeup, and it just left it up out over the plate. Just wasn't falling off the table like it normally would.
Well, it's not as simple as this, but here's one angle to look at it. Against DiNardo coming into tonight, when the Tigers put the ball in play in his first 2 starts, they hit .364 against him. So they're still making outs at what, a 64% rate. But when you walk a hitter, they get on base every single time. Simplistic maybe, but if you want to work the averages, if you make them put it in play, 64% of the time they're going to make an out. You throw them 4 balls, they're going to get on 100% of the time. Pretty genius, isn't it?
Very ingenious.
Now Baldelli with Ortiz at first base. Singled his first time up.
So just looking at this graphic here, Ryan, you look at that second time through batting average, you can tell that this is where he has a lot of trouble.
Well, we talk so often about the Royals' third baseman this year playing so deep on the left side, and that's going to cost the Royals a base runner as Baldelli reaches with an infield single.
Well, we've mentioned this a number of times, Ryan, and I tell you, this is where the Royals really hurt themselves, I think. You know, I would rather play in 5 or 6 feet, 5 feet behind the bag and let him hit the ball hard against me. But he's almost 1 step off the grass, and he's on the same line as the shortstop. So you can see where he catches this ball right even with the bag. So if he's 3 or 4 steps behind the bag, he's catching that ball in front of the bag, and it's an easier play. So the pitchers have been given an extra out to try to get because of the depth of the third baseman.
And you can't really call that a dribbler. I mean, it's one thing if he comes 3 or 4 steps onto the grass.
Right.
As you said, he got that even with the bag.
And there's been some balls even that's fallen beyond the bag, and still it's been a tough play.
1 hop to Meyer. Ortiz will hold at third. The Red Sox now with 7 hits in less than 3 innings, and they're loaded up. And now the 3rd time to the order. And now, according to these numbers here, Frank, we go from 467 to 500.
But those aren't good numbers, and that's what you have to really be concerned about right now. Is that what makes those numbers go up? Is it because the hitters are that good, or because he's starting to elevate the ball in the strike zone, which I've seen the second time through? It's been elevating the changeup in the middle of the plate and not being able to take advantage of the cutter and keep the ball down and getting the ground ball. But in all fairness to this inning here, he got the ground ball to get him out of the inning, but because of the defensive setup, he wasn't able to get out of this inning.
Ellsbury is grounded out twice to second base and to short. Good pitch on the outside. 30 pitches in the inning for DiNardo. One and one. Jacoby Ellsbury's play in Boston is what made Coco Chris expendable, and then the trade over the Royals this past offseason. Jason Bay has hit a 3-run home run in this inning, then a walk, and 2 singles have loaded him up. through the legs into center field, and 2 will score. It's a 5-run third inning for Boston.
But Donato's had 3 opportunities tonight to make a play, but this one here's the toughest of them all. But when the ball goes through your legs, he leaves this ball up, out over the plate, and Ellsbury hits it right back between the wickets in the center field and played a 2 RBI on that swing. So you go back to that ground ball to third base, and that might have saved the Raws two runs in this inning.
Pedroia started all this with a single and scored on the Jason Bay home run. So he has a chance to have 2 hits in the same inning. One ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. Well, 5 innings, 5 runs in this inning, and really no help on the way. DiNardo's going to have to take one for the team. The Royals are very thin right now as far as pitching goes. And Pedroia with his 2nd hit of the inning. And it's going to be a 6-run third as Gonzalez comes home to score.
Watch how Pedroia pulled his hands into this swing. He really just got right inside that ball and didn't try to pull it. He just stayed right inside. You can see how he just pulls that left hand inside there and just takes it back up the middle. Good swing on a good pitch, and got a base hit to center field.
2 hits in an inning does not tie a Red Sox team record. A few years ago, Red Sox had a blowout win against Florida, and former Royal Johnny Damon had 3 hits in 1 inning. And now Martinez, who has walked and singled, he has scored in this inning, coming home on the Jason Bay home run. Martinez single in the 1st inning extended his hitting streak to 20 games. One and 1. "20 games ties him for the 5th longest in the American League this year. That was the 40th pitch of the inning by DiNardo. The longest hitting streak in the American League this year, Ichiro Suzuki, had a 27-gamer that went from early May until early June. Three balls, 1 strike. Jacoby Ellsbury, about that same time, early May till late May, had a 22-game hitting streak. That's the 3rd longest in the American League this year. At the moment, Ellsbury has a 7-gamer. To Gordon. Low throw and handled by Butler, and that's the inning. 11 come to the plate, 6 come around to score. In the 1960s, Lewis went door to door pushing fair housing for minorities, a stance that grew into the Kansas City resident fighting for equal employment opportunities for most of his life. Now 82 years old. Worked an inner city job program for minorities and developed the first health care program for eastern Kansas rural communities. So welcome to the game, Lewis Beck. Two and one from Wakefield to Unieski Betancourt. It was just 6 for 30 on the trip. Hit hard to left field, and Jason Bay is there to make the catch. Here's tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And the Royals having another good September. They have the 4th best record in the American League. Unfortunately tonight they're facing a team with the best record, Oakland, who is in last place in the American League West, also having a good month of September. This year, of course, we can't say it's the final month of the year because the regular season will go into the first 4 days of October. 2-0 on Josh Anderson, facing Tim Wakefield for the first time. Josh did not have a big road trip offensively. He had just 3 hits, but yesterday had a key bunt single, a stolen base, came around to score the Royals' second run of the game. They ended up winning the game 2-1, and he took a home run away from Carlos Quentin later in the game. So he had a huge impact yesterday as the Royals took 2 out of 3 from Chicago and finished the trip 6-3. Back to You Call It, presented by Sprint. And now it's a 46-37 advantage for Greinke over Wakefield. Greinke's slider to Wakefield's knuckleball. Anderson takes off and picks up his 21st stolen base. So the runner at second base now tied with the man at the plate, Willie Bloomquist, for the team lead with 21 stolen bases. Of course, Willie's have all come with the Royals this year. Anderson had a big chunk of his with the Detroit Tigers.
And what better pitcher to steal off of than a knuckleballer, because he's going to hold the catcher back. He's got to wait a while, and that made that stolen base for Anderson pretty easy.
Starting to rain again, a light drizzle. Two balls, one strike. Joey Gathright now with the Red Sox. He had 21 stolen bases for the Royals last year. That led the team, so Bloomquist and Anderson have tied him. And that's the highest total that the Royals had since 2003, when Carlos Beltran had 41.
Well, you have to ask yourself, when you have those power guys who have to sit through long innings and go back out, and they're not quite as sharp. And Wakefield looks like he may be going through a little bit of that this inning to this point.
On the disabled list on July the 21st, he had some issues with his back, which resulted in a lack of strength in his legs. So this is only his 3rd start since the All-Star break. He had been on a 4-0 run before going on the DL. Some teams want nothing to do with a knuckleball pitcher, but a team like the Boston Red Sox, you have a guy like Wakefield who doesn't need typically 4 days in between starts. He can start on short rest if someone else goes down. He has pitched out of the bullpen. He has 22 saves in his major league career. outside to Bloomquist. So with one out, back-to-back walks. And 2 on for Mitch Meyer. Wakefield has walked 3 tonight. Wakefield went to the All-Star game this year, the first time in his career, and he became the second oldest in Major League history to go to his first All-Star game at 43 years old. Runners take off again, and they move up. So the Royals down by 6, trying to get something on the board against Wakefield in the 3rd inning. So make it 22 stolen bases for Anderson and for Bloomquist.
But again, Ryan, this is no contest right here. Wakefield just take a quick look, and Anderson had a great jump. And I think he could have went to second base and still not had a chance to throw Bloomquist out in that situation. They usually go for the lead guy when you got the fastest guy on second base.
Boy, Martinez is having an awful time tonight with Wakefield's knuckleball.
Well, he's probably feeling a lot more pressure now with Anderson on third base at least to knock this ball down and keep it from getting by.
Man, he is doing everything he can to just try and knock it down. It reminds me of Bob Uecker's great line about trying to handle a knuckleball. And his response was, you wait for it to stop rolling and then you pick it up.
Yeah, you can chase that thing a little while before it gets to you. But right now it looks like Wakefield's trying to throw a harder knuckleball. And rather than one that kind of comes in more like a slider or a curveball, it's trying to get a little bit more movement. To me, it's kind of like he's going for the strikeout with this knuckleball versus just trying to let him put it in play.
The pitch stayed up. Billy Butler telling us at the top of the broadcast what is a pretty common theory about knuckleballs, and it's got a kind of a ring to it. If it's high, let it fly. If it's low, let it go.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So if a knuckleball starts right down the middle of the plate, let it go, because it's going to go down just like that. Meyer takes a walk, so that's 4 for Wakefield, 3 in this inning. And now Billy Butler comes up with the bases loaded, 1 out.
Maybe that long inning had some effect on Wakefield sitting over there on the bench watching his team score runs. But, you know, you wouldn't think that would affect the knuckleballer that much. But I think this inning has affected Tim a little bit.
John Farrell out there. And I've always wondered, what does a pitching coach say to a knuckleball guy? You know, are your fingernails sharp enough?
Well, unless he just notices something in his delivery that he thinks can help him get the ball over the plate. You know, maybe he's opening up a little too fast, or maybe something like that, or just maybe he just feels like he's rushing himself a little bit. So there's always some mechanical thing he can try to get him back online with.
Billy out on ground ball back to Wakefield in the 1st inning. That knuckleball is in for a strike. Now, I said that Wakefield is just making his 3rd start since the All-Star break, but I also need to add that this is his 1st start since September the 5th. So he has not made a start in over 2 weeks. How about that call? Tim McClellan looking over his left shoulder and keeping an eye on Billy Butler. It's not Billy Butler's fault that McClellan made a bad call, and now it's popped up. Infield fly rule. 2 down. Billy Butler did absolutely nothing after that call was made. He just stepped out of the box. He didn't show up the umpire, but the umpire's just glaring at him, waiting for him to do something wrong.
Well, this pitch here, that bottom dropped out of this pitch, and I got knuckleball doesn't move to the last minute, and Billy was just sure this ball was going to be low. He had a good look at it, stayed in there, followed it back to the catcher's mitt. In this case, the first base mitt, and he did everything he possibly could do.
Now it's 0-1 to Jacobs, who struck out in the 2nd inning. Here's an opportunity down by 6. The Royals cannot afford to let slip away. Pitcher gives you 3 base runners. And it's 0-2.
Now this is where Mike Jacobs really got to kind of shorten his swing up and try to go back to where he was getting his base hits to left center field. A lot of times when you get long and big, then this ball moves on you. You don't have the bat speed to keep up with it.
Jacobs now 0 for his last 11. With the strikeout in the second inning, Jacobs is 2 out of 4 against Wakefield, and one of those hits is a double. Wakefield has walked Anderson, Bloomquist, and Meyer. And it gets away from Martinez, so the Royals will get 1. Now here's the difficulty when you're the official scorer. Yes, it hit Victor Martinez's glove. However, that is not just any old pitch that you're trying to catch.
I don't think a catcher should ever get a pass ball when he's catching a knuckleball. I mean, he's like swatting flies back there. I mean, he's done the best job he can to hold on. And I mean, it's easy to get a fastball because he hit it in his glove, but I just don't think that a catcher should ever get a pass ball when you catch a knuckleball.
And that's what it scored.
We'll let the official scorer try to catch that knuckleball. He'll see how difficult it is to catch.
Jacobs with a home run swing strikes out again. 3 walks and a pass ball, and that's how the Royals get their first run. Louisiana Lafayette on homecoming Saturday. And thanks to your local pay-per-view provider, you can catch the game from your living room for only $29.95. So access your digital program guide or call your local pay-per-view provider to place your order. That is a CMSU umbrella. They had a big win over Pitt State, 23-14. That's the game that I believe is played at Arrowhead every year, right? Maybe not. Okay, that's the Northwest Missouri football game. One and two on Kevin Youkilis. Infield single in the first inning. Flied out to center in the third. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Youkilis, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 6 runs scored when the Royals were in Boston in July. Youkilis with good numbers as it is, but might be an even stronger MVP candidate if not for spending a little bit of time on the disabled list. Then he was suspended for 5 games after charging the Tigers' Rick Porcello in August. So that cost him over 2 weeks worth of games. Out on a fly ball to Bloomquist, 1 down in the 4th inning. And now Jason Bay, who hit a 3-run home run off of Lenny in the 3rd inning. His 36th of the year, and that gives him 113 RBIs.
This is a changeup out over the plate, Ryan, in the 3rd inning. 2 men on. He hit it like he was looking for it. That Donato's changeup really tonight has really been the pitch I think that's kind of betrayed him. I don't think it's really doing what he wanted to do in terms of falling down away from right-handed hitters, just staying out over the plate.
Three balls, no strikes. A bullet right to Gordon. He goes down like a catcher to make the play. 2 down.
Well, this is one that says, you catch me or I'll catch you. And he just had nowhere to go. The ball had some good hook back to his right. They just tried to stay in front of it and make the play.
Right to Betancourt. So the shift is paid off twice for the Royals with Ortiz at the plate. And that's DiNardo's first 3-up, 3-down inning. $7 lower level seats to high school and college students with a valid student ID. Fox Sports Kansas City's chief meteorologist Kevin Shank has been looking at all of the weather radars, and this is just a little pop-up shower. After that, no rain between here and Topeka. Alberto Callaspo grounded out to third in the second inning. One ball, two strikes. Now, Kevin has also taught me that it always looks like it's raining harder on TV than it actually is. And that's because when a camera uses a close-up, as this one is right now, obviously that camera is a long way away from the lights, but you're covering a lot of raindrops. There's Donnie Miller out in right field saying, "Oh, really? It's not raining so hard, huh?" But it always looks worse because this shot out towards Donnie Miller, that's covering the whole field, so you're getting all the raindrops from one camera to another, so about 100 yards worth of raindrops. That's why it always looks a lot heavier on TV. Ellsbury looking up into the raindrops and gets Callaspo.
And it never rains in the truck either, right?
That's true. You can just look at the weather radar in the truck and go, "Ah, this is nothing." Well, further evidence is that there is no sign of the ground screw. So if this was going to become an issue. How you doing, Phil? If it was an issue, the ground screw would be behind the tarp. 0-1 on Olivo, who walked in the second inning. The Royals are still without a hit, but they have 4 walks against Wakefield. And the Royals' run coming on a pass ball. I would think that these conditions would be ideal for Tim Wakefield. Not only does the ball knuckle, but now he's got some wind and some moisture in the air to help it out. There's the Royals' first hit. Splashing into center field. So Olivo on base twice. 1 on, 1 out in the 4th inning.
Sometimes you take a pitch, a swing to get you back on. This first pitch really pulled his head and swung through the ball. Then on this pitch here, this knuckleball came down, so you can watch his head. His head stayed down on the ball, and he stayed through the ball and drove the ball back through the middle.
Ball 1 to Alex Gordon, who fouled out to third in the second inning on an outstanding play by Mike Lowell. He just went casually running from third base into foul ground, past the dugout suite, and made a very difficult over-the-shoulder catch, but he made it look very easy.
Real easy. A lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I actually thought Gonzalez was going to come over and take that fly ball from him, but he just made it look so easy that maybe he just done it before.
Alex hit 273 on the road trip. Olivo takes off, and the throw goes into center field. Gonzalez applied the tag, even though the throw went into center, trying to hold Olivo at second base, but Miguel read it well and moves on to third. That's 4 stolen bases for the Royals in the first 4 innings.
It looks like Trey Hillman's going to be aggressive against the knuckleballer. This ball just came out of Martinez's hand, almost like he threw it as if the ball was wet. And Gonzalez goes in and forces Olivo to slide, which he was going to do anyway. But fortunately, he was able to see where the ball was and continue to third base.
One and two on Gordon. That's coming down pretty good now. The grounds crew appears to have prepared for this. You might not be able to tell in your living room, but this is a much lighter colored infield, which means there was a lot of that compound on top of the dirt to absorb the extra moisture. So it appears that Trevor Vance and the boys knew that this was coming, and the field was covered when everyone got here today. So the infield dirt really didn't get wet, even with all the rain, but that extra compound will help with the moisture and keep some of the puddles off the dirt. Alex into center to make it 6-2. th RBI of the year for Gordon.
Alex took your advice on this pitch. You know, he let it get up in the air, and he was able to stay with it and hit it in the center field. So it's that this knuckleball just stayed up out over the plate, and he tracked it real well.
So Alex at first, one out, and now Yuniesky Betancourt, who lined out his first time.
You can see some puddling behind home plate on the warning track, but you don't see any on the infield.
That's what the infield would look like if they didn't put all that compound down. And then if that's the case, perhaps the tarp is on the field right now.
Definitely. That gets real slick when it's like in that situation like it is there.
Because of the rain, and with rain in the forecast, Trey Hillman not quite ready to put Mark Teahan back in the lineup, or David DeJesus into left center. And Gordon will go first to third. So runners in the corners, one out. So the Royals without a hit for 3 1/3 innings, and now they have 3 straight.
But Wakefield's starting to get his knuckleball up, and Betancourt just stayed with it, didn't overswing. Got it up over shortstop for a base hit. That's first and third. And the question now is, if everybody else has been running on Tim Wakefield, will Betancourt be allowed to run?
That would be one way to avoid a double play, getting Betancourt to second base. And Anderson trying to bunt his way on. Bunting a knuckleball can't be easy.
Oh, that's only a good play if the guy on third knows it's coming. I mean, that's like you say, the knuckleball holds you there a little longer, and you give everything away by the time you square around and wait on the ball to get there. Everybody should be crashing in on you.
To first, Youkilis down to second base, one, and then he goes back to first to receive the throw. So the Royals get one in the 4th inning. It's a 4-run game.
but it's not really a knuckleball. It's really thrown with the fingertips, and what you try to do is keep your wrist stiff and just push it toward home plate and then let it play out. And a lot of times they like to be throwing against the wind. They get a lot more movement on the knuckleball.
So very much like an airplane takes off in the wind, because that's where you get all the movement or the lift.
Right, and then it just depends on how fast the arm comes through as to which way the ball's going to go. Sometimes it goes up, down, left, down, right. Some guys can control it, some can't.
Well, the Royals were without a hit for 3 1/3 innings against the knuckleball tonight, but then 3 straight hits with 1 out in the 4th inning. So a 6-0 Boston lead, now 6-2. Mike Lowell has walked and flied to center. Now down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. All 6 runs for the Red Sox coming in the 3rd inning. Jason Bay with a 3-run home run. Jacoby Ellsbury a 2-run single, and then Dustin Pedroia, who had 2 hits in that inning, driving in a run. Lenny DiNardo, after that 6-run 3rd inning, came back in the 4th and set down the side in order. 2-2. Lenny turned 30 on Saturday. Made his big league debut with the Red Sox in 2004. Also spent some time with the Oakland A's. So he has faced Boston before tonight. 5 games, all with Oakland, 1-0. And like a lot of pitchers do against the Red Sox, he has had some issues with walks. Lenny has now pitched 19 innings against Boston and has walked 14. So part of that can be the pitcher's fault. Part of it is just the Red Sox are a very patient hitting team.
Well, I think they're very patient when you look at the number of walks they have. And DiNardo is a pitcher that can't really afford to live in the middle of the plate, so he requires on movement and deception. And when he can't hit his spots, then he just plays right into the hands of good hitting ball clubs.
He walks Lowell after being ahead in the count 0-2. He is at 98 pitches, according to our James B. Nutter pitch count, and a lot more even in a strike to ball ratio than he would like. And now Rocco Baldelli. Two singles for Baldelli, including an infield single in the 3rd inning, and that ended up being a key play because after the Jason Bay home run, a walk, a fly out to center, and then Baldelli hit a ground ball towards 3rd. Not unlike this one. Royals get the out at second base, no double play. But because the Royals were so deep on the infield, that slow ground ball to 3rd base wasn't the final out of the inning. It was an infield single, and the Red Sox went on to score 3 more.
Well, this ball here, look, Alex can get a good grip on this ground ball. But just trying to make sure you just get 1 out. That's all you can do in weather like this right now.
And out there handling these harsh elements with the wind and the rain, here is Joe Goldberg.
Yeah. Not bad. You know, perfect weather for a jacket and tie.
You've got cover down there. You've got cover down there.
Hey, I've got cover, and look, am I staying dry? I don't think so. It's blowing pretty good. By the way, this isn't going to be so bad. Just talking to the grounds crew, and they believe this thing's going to pass over in the next 10 minutes, and then we'll just see a mist, so we should be good quite a while. And really the deal with this is it's a cold front coming in. If you look at the radar right now, guys, there isn't a whole lot on there, so they think this will be in and out pretty quickly, and then just some annoying mist for the rest of the night, hopefully, guys.
Well, I'm disappointed. I was kind of hoping when we went down to you would be like
drenched.
What's his name? Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel. You know, who's like right on the beach as the hurricane is arriving.
This comes from a guy that did a weather report last year that said there's a lot of green and stuff on the screen. That's a walk. Back to you.
And 5 for DiNardo. So 1st and 2nd, 1 out. And speaking of 5, Trey Hillman would like to get at least that many innings out of DiNardo, and Yasuhiko Yabuda warming up in the bullpen. You know, God bless those guys for being out there in the middle of the hurricanes, but I always get a kick out of how they report to all of us how windy it is and how driving the rain is. I mean, my thought at home is, well, you're in a hurricane.
Why are you out there?
What did you think it was going to be like? And then, of course, the studio hosts inevitably will say, well, you know, at some point, you know, we hope that you find some safety there. Don't hurt yourself out there. Don't hurt yourself out there. You got trees and cars and front doors blowing by you at 120 miles an hour. 2 balls, 1 strike on Ellsbury. Grounded out in his first 2 at-bats, and then a 2-run single in the 3rd. Two and 2. Red Sox with some impressive hitting streaks. Ellsbury has 7, Pedroia 13, Martinez 20, and Bay has 8. Three and 2. Baldelli at second base, Gonzalez at first. To the right side. Phillies momentum takes him to second base, so the Royals will get 1 out. Baldelli moves up to third. Gonzalez is out.
And Billy really makes this play look easy. I still think backhand is his best side, and he did a real good job not only just picking this ball up, but just taking his time and making a nice, easy throw to Betancourt at second base.
So first and third, and now Pedroia. 2 singles in the 3rd inning. Came around to score the first time and then drove in the 6th and final run in the inning in his second at bat. DiNardo now at 111 pitches in less than 5 innings.
Well, we can't say that's efficient, but you know, the thing that about this game right now, they're rather not really out of this game. They still got quite a ways to go. They've got 2 runs back, so they're down by 4. So they'll still have a chance to come back in this game if they can hold the score right here where it's at.
Behind Pedroia, and it bounces back to DiNardo. That came very close to DiNardo. If Baldelli had made a move for the plate, DiNardo might have tried to tag him out without any help from the catcher.
Well, that was almost like a pitchback machine right there. Olivo goes to retrieve it, and the ball hits that makeshift wall back there, and the ball just gets right back by Olivo.
Ellsbury did move up to second base, so it is a wild pitch charged to DiNardo, and it's 3-0 on Pedroia. That is walk number 6, and they're loaded up for Victor Martinez. That wild pitch for the Royals was number 85 this year, and that ties the Royals' single season record. Just in case you like to keep track of wild pitch records. A little bit outside to Victor Martinez. So DiNardo has missed with 5 in a row. A single, a walk, a run scored for Martinez, and a 20-game hitting streak, and he bats with the bases loaded. Through the right side. Baldelli scores. Ellsbury scores. The throw goes to third, and Pedroia stopped. Betancourt tags him out. He may have beaten that throw, but he started to slow down, and then he stopped. The Red Sox get 2 and lead once again by 6. So Tim Wakefield with his second 6-run lead. Red Sox got him 6 in the third, and the Royals with single runs in the third and fourth innings. And Victor Martinez just driving in 2 in the fifth. So he's only given up 3 hits in 4 innings, but 4 walks. Royals' first run in the third, Wakefield walked, the bases loaded, and a pass ball got Josh Anderson in. Alex Gordon driving in a run in the fourth. And Wakefield making his first start since September the 5th. Going for his 12th win of the year. Ball 1 to Willie Bloomquist, who was grounded out, walked, and stolen a base, his 22nd of the year. One and one. Tim Wakefield originally signed as a shortstop in the Pirates organization. Then he moved to first base. He wasn't hitting much in the minor leagues, but he had a good knuckleball. So the Pirates gave him a shot to become a knuckleball pitcher. It got him to the big leagues on some pretty good Pirates teams that were in the playoffs. But then found himself released by the Pirates and had to sign a minor league contract with the Red Sox in 1995, and now he is second all time, and the Red Sox have been around for a while, second all time in games pitched to Mike Stanley, who is a reliever, and he is third all time in wins for the Red Sox, and the only pitchers ahead of him, Roger Clemens and Cy Young.
Oh, man.
So not bad for a guy that was signed to a minor league contract, and some thought his career was over. Meyer into left center, slicing, and that helped out Jason Bay. And that ball was hit. That was in a spot where it looked like neither Ellsbury and Bay were get to it, but with the slice, Bay able to make the play. Coming up on Thursday, it's Girls Night Out, benefiting the American Heart Association. Hy-Vee, Macy's, 38th The Spot, and KUDL are teaming up for the night to bring you food, fashion, and fun. First 10,000 ladies receive a free Royals shirt from Hy-Vee. And if you purchase VIP ticket packages at royals.com/Girls Night Out, you can register for a free makeover. Billy Butler is grounded to the mound and popped out to first. Bloomquist takes off, and there's stolen base number 23 for him this year, and number 5 for the Royals tonight.
Well, the Royals base runners tonight, only Betancourt, who had an opportunity with first and third, 1 out, hasn't been able to try to steal second base. Wasn't able to steal second base, didn't make the attempt.
And that cost the Royals because Josh Anderson hit into a double play.
The thing about knuckleballers, you've been left a lot of guys that try to throw knuckleballers, but you have to have a good one. If they're able to do it as long as Tim Wakefield's done it, he's been able to pitch some big games for the Red Sox and been able to command it by throwing strikes. A lot of guys who throw the knuckleball have a decent fastball to go along with it, and they try to, but none has been as successful as Wakefield and been able to pitch as long as he has.
Both pitchers have walked 6 tonight. So first and second for Mike Jacobs, who has struck out twice, the only 2 strikeouts for Wakefield. Drilled to deep right field, and Mike Jacobs makes it a 3-run game.
Said about Mike Jacobs, and when he hits home runs, there are never any cheapies to his home runs, and there was nothing wrong with this one either, but he got him a knuckleball up out over the plate and really drove the ball to really above the sprint sign up into the stairwell.
10th home run given up by Wakefield. And now Callaspo hits it hard into left field, and right behind Jason Bay in left. They're getting busy in the Red Sox bullpen.
Take a look at this swing here. This knuckleball stayed up, and it's got some good sound on it. And just watch where this. We can see where this ball lands. I mean, this ball went halfway up the stairwell over the Royals bullpen. Well, that's a pretty good shot right there.
Knuckleballs will travel a long way, even though they aren't thrown hard because there's no spin.
Right.
Remember Lamar Johnson, when he was batting coach with the Royals, explained to me that fastballs will travel quite a distance, but the spin has to reverse. And that breaking balls are usually the ones that go a long way because the spin stays the same after the hitter makes contact.
Yeah, I think a lot of it goes back to the fastball, and you always tell it hit down through the ball, which creates that backspin. But you hit those other ones, you hanging curveballs, you hit your knuckleball square, and that was a rocket off of Jacobs' bat there.
18th home run gives him 58 RBIs. The Royals down by 3 after being down by 6 a couple of times tonight. And now 1-1 to Miguel Olivo. He has a single against Wakefield, and he's been on base with one of the 6 walks. popped up. Pretty routine play for a major league second baseman, but backing up on the wet grass, you have to make sure you really don't plant your feet, right?
Well, you want to make sure every step is carefully placed, but at the same time, you try to keep those raindrops from hitting you directly in the eye. That's always a tough thing too. But where Pedroia is to his right out there, that's the first sign of a shiny infield that we're starting to see. But here you're looking up, and you just want to make sure you can keep that rain out of your eyes because you don't want to blink at the last minute.
So 2 down to Alex Gordon. Royals are 5 for 5 against Wakefield and Martinez in stolen base attempts.
All right, you can see here, right to Pedroia's right, going up the middle. That's the first sign of the infield starting to show some moisture, that moisture buildup, and so that's where they got to be careful at right there. Maybe come out between innings, put some more diamond dry down, and especially in the base path and around home plate and around those areas around the edge of the grass.
One and one. Alex singled in Miguel Oliva in the 4th inning for his 15th RBI of the year. 1 for 2 tonight. He has hit in 5 straight games. Callaspo kind of flinched over at second base, so he might have the optional steal sign if he gets a jump go. If he doesn't, don't.
I think they have a good feel for the track also, and if it's still dry enough where he can get a good footing on his push, that'll be good. But if it's getting wet out there, then that's not going to help him too much when he takes off. He doesn't get a good push. You can see the mud starting to build up underneath the cleats.
Three and two. Well, it's believed by the guys in the truck and the Royals grounds crew that this rain is eventually going to go away, but this is a big out for the Red Sox because it becomes an official game. So just in case something changes, and that can happen in this part of the country. And the two teams have played the minimum 5 innings. Another walk, and Wakefield doing a little dance on the mound in protest, and that's his 7th walk in less than 5 innings.
Well, this is pitch here. It's one of those pitches that really ran away. Martinez did a good job trying to frame it for Tim McClellan, but it was definitely off the outside corner of the plate. That shows a lot of patience from Alex. He went out and hit a ball like that to center field earlier for a base hit.
Out of play. Betancourt lined to left in the 3rd inning, singled in the 4th.
I think footing becomes an issue as we go deeper in the game as it continues to rain, and you probably start seeing a lot of spike clean out as we go down toward the 9th inning.
Drilled to deep left. Jason Bay is all the way back and at the fence makes the catch. So the Royals got 1 3-run home run from Jacobs, and they almost got a second one. Royals down by 3. They almost tied the game, but Yuniesky Betancourt coming up just a little short of a 3-run home run. Tonight's Coors Light Freeze Cam. Mike Jacobs, after striking out in his first 2 at-bats, hits a long home run to right field against Wakefield in the bottom of the 5th to make it a 3-run game. Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. So a new game and a new pitcher, Yasuhiko Yabuda, coming on for the 6th inning as the Red Sox get 8 runs, 10 hits against Lenny DiNardo in 5. Yabuda last outing was on Saturday at Chicago, and he allowed a grand slam to Carlos Quentin. White Sox won that game 13-3. The grand slam turned a 3-3 game into a 7-3 game, and then the White Sox went on to score 6 more. It'll be Youkilis, Bay, and Ortiz in the 6th inning. Youkilis 1 for 3, an infield single back in the 1st. One and one. Red Sox with 6 runs in the 3rd. They batted 11, and then 2 more in the 5th. 2-1. Youkilis with that very odd batting stance where he's hardly holding the bat with his top hand. He's out 1 for 4 and 1 down in the 6th inning. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Well, last inning, some of those bright spots on the infield were the beginnings of some puddles, but now the bright spots on the infield are patches of the diamond dry. It's a special compound that absorbs the dirt, and like a pit crew in NASCAR, the Royals grounds crew comes just bolting out of the right side, and they're going to fix them out for Yabuda, and they're also going to work on home plate. While they do that, we want to remind you about Fan Appreciation Weekend with the Minnesota Twins coming to town beginning on Friday. Sponsored by Sprint. Futures night on Friday, so you can get a look at the Royals' future and the Pitcher and Hitter of the Year award winners from every level. Fans can win great prizes on Saturday with the first 20,000 receiving a Hall of Fame George Brett figurine. And on Sunday, one lucky fan will win the chance to be treated like royalty in 2010. And it's Fan Appreciation Night tonight for those who have showed up to Kauffman Stadium and braved the rain, although that guy's not complaining. So 1 out. Now Jason Bay hit a 3-run home run in the 3rd inning. And there was the towel call to the Royals bat boy. And anytime the home plate umpire can see home plate, we're in favor of it. Ball 1 to Jason Bay.
Yeah, this is in weather like this, they retire the brush.
I tell you, you don't hear anything in Boston about Jason Bay replacing Manny Ramirez. He's been productive ever since he arrived from Pittsburgh last year. 113 RBIs this year. The Red Sox just love him. Shows up to play every day. Anderson into a dive. That ball hit his wrist. It looked like he dove right by it. And Bay is at first with 1 out.
Well, here's Ryan. This is a very catchable ball, but I think what Josh got caught in between was staying on his feet and diving. If he stays on his feet, he runs right through and catches the ball. But he had just committed himself to the dive, and the ball was a lot higher than he thought it was.
That is ruled a hit. So Bay's second of the game. And 1 on, 1 out for Ortiz. Ortiz 0 for 2. He's been on base with a walk and scored a run. Another example about Jason Bay and how tough he is and how badly he wants to play. He was dealing with flu-like symptoms during the Baltimore series on Friday and Saturday. And then before the game yesterday, because he so badly wanted to play and was having a tough time keeping liquids down, he took an IV of some fluids before the game yesterday and played.
Well, some guys just love to play, and that's what you like to see, and that's something that's very common in football and basketball at times. You want to be out there. You can be out there if you really want to be out there.
And the guy that he replaced in left field didn't necessarily have the same reputation as a guy that at all costs wanted to be on the field. Two and 2 on Ortiz.
Just kind of give you an idea. We talk about on base percentage, and you talk about production, and you know where Kevin Youkilis is hitting .310, and he's got 25 and 86 coming in this game. David Ortiz hitting .233 with 24 and 84. So, and where in this case Youkilis does both, you know. But you talk about on base percentage for Youkilis at .417, and on base for Ortiz at .325. So some guys get on and some guys drive them in.
Bay takes off and Ortiz into left center, and it drops in front of Meyer, and Bay runs to third. And that brings up Mike Lowell.
Well, Jason Bay has 13 stolen bases, so that really doesn't surprise you if he runs right here. But with the track the way it is and the ball the way it is, this is about one of the more aggressive games you've seen for the weather to be so inclement.
One and 0. Well, we've been talking about on base percentage, and I've been having a little friendly debate for years with a prominent Kansas City sports writer on the importance of certain statistics. So for the record, Frank White.
For the record.
1 and 1.
That's
and
good.
this hasn't been scripted, right?
No. You got me worried because I don't know what you're going to ask me.
If you're a number 3 hitter in the major leagues, what's more important? His RBIs or his on-base percentage?
The number 3 hitter?
Yeah. Skips past Olivo, and Yabuda doesn't even cover home plate. I don't know if he was slow getting off the mound, and I'm not sure Bay would have been out at the plate. but there was no chance for a play. So it's 9-5, and Ortiz moves up to second base.
As a pitcher, as soon as you see the ball leave your hand in the dirt, there's a chance for a wild pitch with a runner on third, so you got to go right away. But he's so disgusted that he threw the ball away that he didn't pay attention to get down to home plate. He's looking up in the air somewhere. Then he says, "Ooh, I better hustle," but he never got there.
That's drilled to right. And Bloomquist runs it down. Ortiz will tag and move up to third.
Okay, so much is going on, you're going to have to ask me a question again. What's more important, on base percentage?
If you're a number 3 hitter.
Yes. Now, as a number 3 hitter, what's more important to me as a number 3 hitter?
Driving in runs, RBIs, or your on base percentage?
I'd say driving in runs and RBI. I
won't even tell you what I said and what he said.
I think there's only 4 guys you should worry about on base percentage. That's 8, 9, 1, 2. Those other guys, to me, are got to be guys that drive in runs.
I was ridiculed in my buddy's blog. I mean, absolutely torn inside out for making a comment that Bobby Abreu, the number 3 hitter for the Angels, that the most important statistic for him was his RBIs.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you're number 3 hitter. Your job is to drive and run. If you're on base percentage guy, then we should have never batted George Brett third. I mean, he got a lot of hits and his on base percentage was good, but at the same time, he knew by being right there, his job was to drive and run. So that just goes back to saying, okay, your 1, 2, 3 guys should be on base percentage guys, and your 4, 5, and who's going to help you? Maybe your 6 guy? Mm-hmm. But I don't agree with that. I mean, you don't bet your third place hitter is presumably your best hitter. So you don't bet your best hitter third to walk. You know, he's there to drive and run.
And in a best case scenario, you'd like a little bit of both from your number 3
If you can get it all, it's perfect. Yes, perfect world. Right.
Ooh, Yabuda starting to walk off the mound. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Baldelli.
And most times you will. I mean, you should get a good combination of all of those, but I think the priority is not on base. I think the priority is your ability to drive and run.
Baldelli 2 hits, 2 runs scored, and Yabuda strikes him out. Red Sox get a run on a wild pitch.
slam out of the park. Well, wouldn't a grand slam inside the park be more exciting?
Well, speaking of my prominent Kansas City sports writer friend, that'll get him stirred up. Not to mention, Frank, you know how many inside the park grand slams the Royals have hit in their long history, and they've hit a lot of inside the park home runs.
I don't think any.
0.
And the only one I ever witnessed was his last name was Bell. I can't think of his first name, but it was against us. He played for the White Sox. Played third base for the White Sox. That's the game that Tom Poquette ran into the wall and broke his jaw and everything. The ball rolled around, but I can't think of his first name right now.
So if you hit a grand slam inside the park, you ought to get a Sonic franchise.
It's rare.
Yeah.
Because I knew right away. I said, I don't remember ever seeing one here.
Josh Anderson has walked, grounded into a double play. He has stolen 2 bases, so he has 22. Willie Bloomquist has 2 stolen bases tonight. He has 23. And the Royals are 5 for 5 against technically Victor Martinez. That'll go on his statistics. But the Royals really been stealing off Tim Wakefield. Now it's going to be a little more difficult with hard throwing Manny Del Carmen. Del Carmen, very similar to Frank White, grew up in Boston and then got to play for his hometown team, just like Frank here in Kansas City. And the curveball just a little bit inside. Game number 60 for Manny Del Carmen. Stroke to right field. This will probably skip on the wet grass. And on his way to second base is Anderson. So the Royals down by 4, have a runner at second base and nobody out in the 6th.
Well, Josh Anderson got the perfect swing. Just nice short stroke, and that able to pull this ball down the line. He doesn't overswing and gives him a chance to make contact.
Willie Bloomquist has walked twice, stolen 2 bases, and scored a run. Willie had a great road trip. He had 438, and that included one stretch where he was 0 for 7. Mentioned at the top of the broadcast that Willie is filling a couple of roles tonight. He is playing in right field as Mark Teahen still not quite ready to get back into the lineup after experiencing back spasms in Cleveland, and Trey Hillman certainly didn't want him running around on the wet grass. And with David DeJesus still out with a sore ankle, Bloomquist leads off, and Victor Martinez was not expecting a curveball.
He thought he was still catching knuckleballs the way he reacted to that curveball.
Well, he's got his normal catcher's glove back on after using the first baseman's glove with the knuckleballer. But as you pointed out, Frank, if you're going to get crossed up, you'd rather be crossed up with a curveball than crossed up with a fastball.
And the umpires would rather be a curveball too. Because if you get crossed up with a fastball, chances are they're going to have to wear it. And they don't like that at all.
And that usually happens, not all the time, but most of the time with a runner at second base. And a confusion as the catcher goes through a series of signs, exactly which sign is the one that the pitcher uses.
And that's because they usually change them up when a runner gets to second base. And if it's been a while since you had a runner out there, the best thing they can do is go out and talk about it, because they all of a sudden the catcher goes to a whole new set and the pitcher assumes that he knows what it is, and that's when you have trouble.
3 balls, 1 strike.
I think that's one of the umpire's worst fears right there, is that the catcher gets crossed up with a fastball and just misses the whole ball.
And they go through the series of signs so the runner at second base can't somehow relay to the hitter what's coming. And Martinez pointing his hand and his glove down, telling Del Carmen to calm down. 3-2. Frank, if the runner at second base does pick something up, what are some of the subtle ways that they can relay some information to the hitter?
Well, assuming the hitter wants to know. Some guys don't want to know. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll put their hands on their knees and they'll take one step back towards second base if the pitch is going to be to the outside to a right-handed hitter, or one step toward third base if it's going to be inside. It's very rarely they try to tell you what the pitch is, but mainly the location of the pitch.
Martinez, like some catchers do today, and Joe Mauer is someone with Minnesota that we pointed out several times, has 2 different sets of signs. First, he'll go through almost like a third base coach, touching different parts of his body, his shoulder, his mask, his knees, and then goes to the fingers.
Well, that's true, and you always want to try to do something that's kind of natural. So if you take your lead off and you put your hands on your knees, if you look back to second, it's outside. If you look toward third base, it's going to be inside to a right-handed hitter. So you just kind of try to do something that's pretty natural that doesn't look out of place.
Bloomquist moves up the runner, so Anderson to third with 1 out.
That's really a good at bat for Willie right there. It's still early enough in the game that you can still got to play the game, and for him to give himself up right there, it shows that he's still thinking about advancing that runner, getting him in scoring position. I'm surprised the guys on the bench wasn't up patting him on the back when he walked by.
Mitch 0 for 2 with a walk. Oh and 1. Well, certainly the Royals would like a big inning and get closer to the Red Sox, down by 4, but at the very minimum, Meyer needs to get Anderson in from third, and with the infield all the way back except for Lowell, the ground ball would do the job.
That's all you have to do right now. This is getting a run without the benefit of getting the base hit, but you know, the base hit's always the icing on the cake. But just do the fundamental things that the game calls for, and over the course of the year, you'll have a pretty good season.
That's interesting you say that, because some of the big RBI guys, it's easy to look at their 3-run home runs and their grand slams and their 2-run doubles. They get a lot of RBIs in small bits in situations like this.
Just a sac fly or ground ball to short, second, or one of the corner guys are back. You just want to, you basically, if the corners are in, you just don't want to hit the ball to the corner, so they just center in the center of the field, and they get a lot of RBI without the benefit of a base hit.
2-2 on Meyer. I've used this example a million times, so my apologies ahead of time, but to me it was the best example when Edgar Martinez was with the Mariners. I mean, yeah, he got some big hits, don't get me wrong, but it seemed like runner at third with less than 2 outs, he always got that runner home.
Well, he did a good job of getting the pitch he wanted, and he could stay inside the ball and drive the ball to right center field as good as any. And when he wanted to fly ball, he could hit a fly ball, and when he wanted a ground ball, he could hit a ground ball. He might be one of the best right-handed hitters I've seen play the game.
Yeah, you pick up, over the course of 6 months, you pick up 25 to 30 of those. Well, there's the difference right there between 75 RBIs and 100, 110 RBIs.
And he's one of those guys, too, with a man on second, no out. He wasn't even thinking about getting a base hit, but he could manipulate the bat and hit the ball to second base to the right side. And he would always take second, maybe first and second, no outs, and drive the ball to deep right field, thinking, okay, I'm going to get both the runners over at the same time. So, good job.
Well, Mitch taking a big swing at that Del Carmen pitch, so didn't appear to be a shorten up and try and get the runner home type of a swing. And now Billy Butler comes up with 2 outs. Billy 0 for 2. He walked and scored on the Jacobs home run in the 5th. Down and away at 93 miles an hour. Billy hitting at 298, but at Kauffman Stadium, he is hitting over 350 this year. And Billy with good numbers across the board in his first real full season in the big leagues. But the number that really grabs your attention, the 47 doubles, second in the league. So you look at this ballpark and what it has to offer, and you see all of his doubles. Well, now you know why he's hitting over 350 here.
Well, Billy's designed for a big ballpark. I mean, he takes advantage of all the alleys and the lines, and this is a great ballpark for him to hit in.
Sliced up the line, and that's fair. And Billy on his way to second base for his 48th double. So it's 9-6 as Anderson scores for the second time.
That's a big 2-out base hit by Billy. He gets jammed on this ball, but he's able to stay inside and keep this ball down the line. And that's why he should be in the big ballpark, because he utilizes line to line, and he dropped this ball right on the right field line almost. And the good thing about Billy, once he stays inside of a ball, the ball stays straight. They don't really slice into the stands or anything like that. He keeps the ball in play, and that's why he's able to pick up that big 2-out base hit.
Ball 1 to Mike Jacobs, who hit a long home run in the 5th inning off of Tim Wakefield. That made it a 3-run game, 8-5, and then Boston got a run in the top of the 6th. That snapped an 0 for 12 for Jacobs. Two and 0.
This is one in the 5th inning you just want to listen to. I mean, he knew he had this ball right away, and he doesn't hit any cheapies. And that was a big blow for the Royals at that time.
And then later in the inning, Yuniesky Betancourt put a charge into one to left field, and Bay caught it up against the chain link fence in left field. That would have been a 3-run home run. 3 balls, no strikes. Jamie Wright warming up. Could be ready for the 7th inning. Four-pitch walk, and that brings up Cayaspo, who would represent the tying run. Boston Red Sox have walked 8 batters, and John Farrell has made a few trips to the mound. We remind you that our next telecast in high definition is coming up tomorrow, and Zach Greinke going for his 15th win. Former Royal Paul Berg will start for the Red Sox. Royals in HD brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. So Zach, who's coming back after taking this shot off the elbow from Miguel Cabrera. The flamethrower and the Craftsman tomorrow.
I wonder if the bird's nest going to show up tomorrow.
Drilled into deep right center field. Callaspo to the wall. Butler scores. Here comes Jacobs. It is a one-run game.
Caspo, nice short stroke, goes back to the left side after Wakefield left the game, and this is a ball on a dry day he probably would have tried to get a triple out of, but he really hit the ball well to split the outfielders in right center field. And you go back to that unselfish play by Willie Blomquist, giving himself up to move Anderson to third, and a big innings being created after that.
Callaspo driving in his 68th and 69th runs. Major leaguer do you admire and model yourself after? And Daniel Bard said Kyle Farnsworth. That tells you that his approach is to throw hard. Our Sonic Slam inning contestant is Diana Lopez of KCMO. Royals haven't hit a home run in this inning, but they've scored 3. Matching the 3 runs from last inning. Mike Jacobs hit a 3-run shot in that inning. So it's Daniel Bard to face Miguel Olivo. Olivo, after 5 home runs and 15 RBIs on the road trip, has scored a run tonight. He has singled and walked. He has also stolen a base, his 5th. Callaspo, the tying runner at second base. And there's the comparison to Farnsworth, the fastball at 97.
Miguel's going to have to shorten up a little bit to catch up with that one. Get back to the base. I think almost like he gives himself one swing to go for it all. And he said, well, I better straighten up and go back to my game plan and stay through the ball.
Well, Miguel's had better swings. I don't know if he's had any worse swings. 1 and 2.
Well, this is one that really jumps in on his hands, and he commits, but then he realizes, oh boy, I'm glad I didn't hit that ball. He's got to be glad he didn't make contact with this one. He was definitely in a weak position there. The only bad things would have happened from there.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
That swing will have to make our list.
Yeah. Looked like a guy trying to swat a fly with a canoe paddle. .98 miles an hour again. Well, you get a souvenir tonight. You deserve it. With the wind and the rain all night. And it's been raining pretty steady since about the 3rd inning. Again, 98 miles an hour. And the last 3 pitches all in on Olivo. 3 and 2. Grounded, just foul. So that close to tying the game.
Bard got this ball down below Miguel's swing and makes it a little easier for him to get to it, and they just pulled it right up to the foul side of third base, and that would have been a sort of a backbreaker for the Red Sox, because that's just sure double with a tying run crossing home plate.
Another good at bat for Olivo. Don't want to make too much out of this, but it seems in the past couple weeks that something has just clicked with Olivo. Now, he took a swing at a fastball at 98 in on his hands. That wasn't pretty, but there have been very few bad swings at pitches well out of the strike zone from Olivo.
I think a lot of it is just going back to trying to have a consistent approach to what you're trying to do. And talking to him before the game, he's just trying to let the ball travel a little bit longer and try to work the ball back into up the middle of the right field. And he's actually giving himself a chance to see the ball a little longer, and that might be the difference right there. I mean, occasionally he'll let go, but I think the next swing you can always see the adjustment that he makes.
So 2 on for Alex Gordon. He has an RBI tonight, a single and a walk. And Bard pretty consistent with a fastball at 98. Alex is now hit in 5 straight. This is his first career at bat against Bard.
Yeah, all the pitches that I've seen, even going back to Nolan Ryan, who threw 98 or above, the one thing that they all have in common is a lack of fastball command. That's been the tough. If they could ever throw that hard with fastball command, it'd be lights out.
Well, even Robinson Tejeda, we've enjoyed watching him as a starter in his last 4. He can throw 97, 98, but he's been successful as a starter, being more in the 92 to 95 range.
Just get in that comfort zone now that you can command it. And here, Bard, if he dropped down about 3 miles an hour, he might be able to command this fastball a little bit. But when you're trying to throw it 98 and then you're trying to throw 99, it just matters just trying to control that pitch.
Up the left field line, fair. And the Royals have tied the game. Olivo on his way to third. He'll be held there. So the Royals, twice down by 6 tonight, have tied it in the 6th.
This is you know, when you see Alex do this, I mean, this is really variation from what he usually does. Normally on this pitch here, he tries to pull this ball, and then he ends up with a broken battery and rolls over. But he really stayed inside this ball well with his bottom hand and really he didn't hit it hard, but got it out over third base. And normally, at least on this swing, you see some adjustment that he's trying to make.
And now the ninth man to come up, Yuniesky Betancourt. It was not a strike. It's 0-1. Betancourt is 1 for 3. But both of his outs are line outs to left field. Last inning, he lined out to the chain link fence in left. The Royals tying the game means that Lenny DiNardo, giving up 8 runs, 10 hits in 5 innings, will get a no decision. 0-2.
Well, I guess on a night like this, if you're going to give up that many runs, a no decision, and you win the ball game, it's pretty good. So he can only hope now that the Royals go ahead and win this ball game. Won't be a great night for him, but at least I'd have to get saddled with that L. And that's some pitchers don't like to get.
Lined into right field. Now the Royals have the lead. Here comes Gordon around third. And the Royals lead by 2. Betancourt will be out. So the Royals coming up with 6 runs in the 6th and lead 11-9.
With a good slider, and then it was fastball after fastball, and Miguel was overmatched with the fastball and laid off the tough slider down and away, and still was able to foul off another good fastball. But he did a good job just hanging in there, being patient, and it kept this inning going. Well, everything happened in that inning except for us getting Diana Lopez some Sonic Slam money in that inning.
Royals with 5 hits in the 6th, 4 doubles. Butler doubling in a run, Callaspo 2, Gordon 1, and then Betancourt singled in 2, and then he was out in the bases. So it's Jamie Wright as the Royals have 9 outs to go on defense. He'll get 9, 1, and 2, beginning with Alex Gonzalez. So DiNardo gives up 8 runs in 5 innings and no decision. Yabuda gives up 1 run in the 6th, and if the bullpen can hang on, Yabuda would get the win. But that's a long ways away. 2-0. Gonzalez has singled and walked. He has scored a run. 2-1. So we've seen both teams tonight with a 6-run inning. Red Sox was 6 in the 3rd, and the Royals was 6 in the 6th. Royals have been down 6-0 and 8-2, and now they lead 11-9. Center field, the wind and the rain blow it towards right center, and Anderson there for the out. And now the top of the order, and Jacoby Ellsbury, who was right in the middle of the 6-run 3rd inning with a 2-run single, and he scored a run in the 5th. Ball 1. Two balls, no strikes. Ellsbury and the Red Sox were hoping eventually he would be their regular leadoff hitter, but that didn't come right away, as he does not walk a lot, so he doesn't have the prototypical on base percentage for a leadoff man, but he does hit .300, and he has stolen 63 bases this year. His on base percentage, .356, isn't bad, but when you're already hitting over .300, that just goes to show that he doesn't walk a whole lot. But he is an excellent hitter with 2 strikes. 3-1 from Jamie Wright. And you figure the longer he's in the league and the more he learns the strike zone and learns his swing, he'll probably end up with more walks.
Well, he's at that type of approach to hitting. So you're right, Ryan. Right now, to be able to be a leadoff hitter, hit .300, and still over 60 bases, you know, you get on base quite a bit.
To Butler. Plays it off to his left side. 2 down. Well, the Royals' final home game will be on Sunday, and that'll be the first annual Bark at the Park for dog lovers. Special $25 ticket includes a human ticket, a canine ticket, and a Royals dog bowl. Plus proceeds benefit 3 local pet adoption groups. Visit Royals.com/bark for ticket package details and to order yours today. 0-1 on Pedroia. 2 hits, both of those coming in the 3rd inning. He led off the 3rd with a single and scored. And then later had an RBI single in the same inning as the Red Sox scored 6. One and 1. Pedroia, Rookie of the Year in 2007, MVP in 2008, and this past off season got a 6-year contract. I would guess, Frank, this would be the type of player that would scare a scout because he does everything you'd want a player to do. He hits the ball hard, he plays great defense, plays the game the right way, but he does not have what you'd call major league size.
But, you know, he's one of those guys that scouts will look at and say he's a ball player. I mean, he comes to beat you any way he can, and I think that's one of the things that I like about him is that he's aggressive. You know, he's just one of those guys that I like to see him be a little more of a well-rounded player. I like to see him bunt a little bit more in certain situations, but he just got that big swing and don't quite know what it would play outside of Boston. But right now he's, you know, the MVP. So what can you say as a second baseman? But he doesn't have the great range, but knows how to play defense, knows how to play the hit.
And surprisingly, with that big swing, I mean, it's easy to look at a guy of his stature and say, man, you got to cut that swing down. But he is one of the most difficult hitters in the American League to strike out. So he's making a lot of contact with that swing.
A lot of contact, and the guy that not real tall, he can hit the high fastball pretty good too.
Another player that is originally from the Red Sox organization and had a nice career, not being very big, David Eckstein. Jamie Wright throws it into Arrowhead Stadium. Caught by Dwayne Bowe for a first down.
Well, it speaks for itself. I can't tell you whether that was going to be a changeup or a fastball. Even the camera lost it.
There's a fan in the 12th row that was going to charge Jamie Wright for throwing at him. 2-out walk. This is what we call in the TV business a wide shot. You can almost see everyone on the field, but you can't see where this ball ends up.
The on-deck batter had to get out of the way of that throw.
It's never a good thing when the pitch is more hittable than to the on-deck hitter than the guy at the plate.
Well, some things in the game, Ryan, you just got to laugh about.
Victor Martinez has driven in 2. He has scored a run.
So when this game is over and he goes back in the clubhouse, believe me, he's gonna get a lot of ribbon about that pitch tonight.
Well, if you're the type of person where walks make you angry, you might have to double up on your medication tonight, because we have seen 16. The Red Sox have walked 9, and now the Royals have walked 7. And 7 of the 16 walks have come around to score. Two and one. Martinez with his single back in the first inning, extending his hitting streak to 20 games. That ties for the 5th longest in the American League this year. Ichiro Suzuki with a 27-game hitting streak. That's the longest in the American League and the longest in the major leagues. Early in the year, Ryan Zimmerman of the Nationals had a 30-game hitting streak. Just inside. This is not the only reason for all the walks tonight, but it certainly doesn't help that this is not the most pitcher-friendly strike zone in the league. Three and two. And now Pedroia at first base will get an early break. And Billy Butler looks in to see what the Royals want him to do. And looks like Billy is going to play behind Pedroia. And now he's going to back off all the way. Up the middle, Betancourt behind second. And the inning is over. Stretch time at Kauffman Stadium. Royals lead by 2. Fourth place in the East, and Minnesota beating Chicago 7-0. So the Twins 2.5 games out in the Central. Minnesota will be coming to Kansas City after their series with the White Sox. Texas is leading at Oakland. Texas 7.5 back in the West and 8 games behind Boston in the wild card. And the Angels leading the Yankees in Anaheim. And I'm sure the Red Sox were hoping that if they could hang on to their 6-run lead that they might gain some ground in the East. But now, after leading twice by 6 runs tonight, they're down by 2. And here's Billy Wagner, the former Astros, Phillies, and Mets closer, who was picked up in a waiver deal coming over from the Mets at the end of August. You'll get Josh Anderson, Willie Bloomquist, and Mitch Meyer. Hey, the Kansas City Royals, the state of Missouri, and Fox Sports Kansas City have joined together to encourage young people not to smoke, because once you start, it's hard to stop. Strike out tobacco so we can all breathe. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW. So Billy Wagner, who is coming off of Tommy John surgery, which he had last year, so he missed a lot of this season. And when he returned to the Mets, they had signed Francisco Rodriguez to a long-term contract. Wagner will become a free agent at the end of this year. Trying to bunt his way on. Anderson doing that yesterday, stealing a base and scoring the deciding run in the Royals' 2-1 win over the White Sox. Tonight, a walk, a double, 2 runs scored, 2 stolen bases. And that gives him 22. 1-1. Anderson led off the 6th inning with that double, and then 2 outs as Bloomquist and Meyer were retired. And then the Royals had 6 straight reach, and coming up with the 6 runs to take a 2-run lead. Butler doubled. That scored Anderson. Jacobs walked. Callaspo hit a 2-run double. Olivo walked. Gordon with an RBI double. And then Betancourt driving in 2 with a single. Up the left field line. And foul. Nice catch. That's a ball player right there. A ball player knows that if you make that catch, it's not a big deal. You got to make that catch, right?
If you got a ball cap on, yeah.
And Anderson down on strikes. So the ball went to a gentleman, and the gentleman gives it to the baby, who is somewhere back in that gigantic poncho. I think he's more interested in that pacifier than he is the baseball. Bloomquist shoots it up the right field side, foul. Willie has walked twice. He has stolen 2 bases and scored a run. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, in a way, I guess this game is playing out the way we expected, with as well as the Royals been playing lately, the Red Sox been playing well lately, and both doing it with a lot of offense. Bigger surprise for the Royals because they have been struggling most of this year offensively. The Red Sox have a great offense. Royals have won 10 of their last 13. Red Sox have won 10 of their last 11. Wagner with back-to-back strikeouts. That one with a fastball at 96. So 20 runs, 22 hits, and over the last 2 weeks, Red Sox and Royals in the top 4 in hits, the top 3 in runs scored. Red Sox with quite an advantage in batting average, but the Royals have actually turned more of their hits into runs. 1-0 on Meyer. Mitch 0 for 3 with a walk. Two and 0.
You know, Wagner's still able to get it up there 97 miles an hour. So it looks like he's back from his surgery.
Well, the Red Sox have a closer, and a very good one, in Jonathan Papelbon, and Billy Wagner is not done being a closer. So he wants to be a free agent and get that closer's job back somewhere.
Well, he's held it for a while, and I can understand why he would still want to do it, especially if his arm feels good and he's got his velocity back on his fastball.
Another walk. That's 10 walks given up by the Red Sox tonight. And the Royals have walked 7. A lot of free base runners, and as a result, a lot of runs. And that means Wagner has to face Billy Butler with 2 down. Billy added to his double total in the 6th inning. his 48th. And so Billy, with 12 games after tonight, needs 6 to tie the team record. There's another one perhaps to the gap in left center. Here comes Meyer racing around third base. Royals have a 3-run lead, and Billy Butler has 49 doubles. So that is a costly 2-out walk from Billy Wagner to Mitch Meyer.
Yeah, another big run following a walk, and we've seen this all night. But Billy takes a nice, easy swing, and he gets the bat hand on this ball, and just slowed that body down. You can see how fast those hands came through, and that ball jumped off his bat in the left center field for his 49th double. And Mitch, it's not a quick track, but he's digging around the best he can, and scores this run for Billy.
So the Royals again down by 6 2 different times tonight, now lead by 3, and they only need 6 outs to go on defense. Mike Jacobs has pitched in tonight, but the Royals come back, hit a 3-run home run in the 5th inning. Jacobs 0 for 3 against Billy Wagner with 2 strikeouts. 3-0. So Wagner about to go from one hitter who has had his difficulty this year against lefties to another hitter who has just owned lefties this year. 4-pitch walk. So the Red Sox have walked 11. And out comes John Farrell. So this is a frustrating night for any pitching coach. And this is not typical Red Sox pitching. They have allowed, or at least they did, allow the 3rd fewest walks in the American League coming into tonight. John Farrell is famous for ending a couple of long hitting streaks. As a rookie in 1987, he ended Paul Molitor's 39-game hitting streak. And then in '89, he ended Kevin Seitzer's long hitting streak. And then later that year, John Farrell had a no-hitter in the 9th inning, and Kevin Seitzer spoiled that. Callaspo, he doesn't normally swing at pitches like that. No balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, he's had 2 swings that we hadn't seen him take all year, and that's the ball down and in, and they've been more like check swings than full swings. Like he's just not picking that hard cutter up, down, and in.
And down on 3 pitches. With the Royals add a run, we go to the 8th. Royals lead by 3. This win would be not unlike the Royals' only win against the Red Sox this year. Royals played their last 4 games before the break in Boston. They lost 3 out of 4, but they won game 1, and they were down 4-0 early in that game, but came back to win. Tonight, they were down 6-0 going into the bottom of the 3rd. Jamie Wright with a scoreless 7th inning. He'll get Kevin Youkilis, Jason Bay, and David Ortiz in the 8th. Infield single back in the 1st inning for Youkilis. Just below the knees. 2-0. Youkilis 0 for 7 against Jamie Wright. Red Sox with 6 in the 3rd, 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th. And when they scored 2 runs in the 5th inning, they had another 6-run lead, 8-2. But the Royals with 3 in the 5th, 6 in the 6th, and 1 in the 7th. Three and 1. There have already been 17 walks tonight. Right field. The wind will push it, and Bloomquist back to the fence, and then face first into the fence.
When you're playing right field and the ball comes off the bat of a right-handed hitter, it's going to go back toward the line, and Willie got turned around and ended up drifting right into that wall, but made a very nice catch after making the adjustment to the baseball. I think just pretty fortunate that he hit where that padding is on the wall out there. I guess I should call that a fence.
Didn't feel like a fence to him, I'll bet you.
Well, they had that padding where they had those steel poles, and that's the only part that's padded out there. But it's all about not expecting to hit it was what gets you.
2 hits for Jason Bay, including a 3-run home run tonight, and that's popped up. 2 down in the 8th inning. You'll remember this because you were the outfield coach for the Royals. But Jermaine Dye made a great play in 1999 at the Metrodome, and he thought he was going into a soft spot in the baggie, and he hit one of those steel support beams. And I don't know how he stayed on his feet. I don't know how he played the rest of that series, but very similar to Willie there, where there's a few spots where there isn't any give because there's support. And man, I remember Jermaine smashing into that thing just like Willie did into the pole on the padding on the chain link fence. And that padding only can help so much, but when you hit it full speed, you go right through the padding.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just not knowing that you're going to hit it. You know, just legit all of a sudden it's right there, and you hit you right in mid stride, and that will knock you back. And I tell you what, Jermaine was pretty lucky. He didn't really hurt himself a lot worse because you know he had some plays here where he ran face first right into the bullpen fence also, and you know that's one of the dangers of playing the outfield is that once you leave the grass and hit the warning track, you just got to know that you only have maybe 3 strides before you hit that wall.
Iaspo comes in from right field, and Jamie Wright with 2 scoreless innings, setting it up for Soria. So he needs 5 doubles in the next 12 games to tie the Royals single season record held by Hal McRae. Michael Bowden takes over for the Red Sox in the 8th. He is the 5th Red Sox pitcher. Wakefield gave up 5. He went 5 innings. Del Carmen gave up 3 2/3. Bard 2 runs in 1/3 of an inning. And then Wagner giving up a run in the 7th. Boston Red Sox have walked 11 tonight. Fouled away by Miguel Olivo. It appears that Willie Bloomquist is all right after going face first into the padding of the gate in front of the Royals bullpen. Getting the first out of the 8th on a drive from Youkilis. On the topic of walks assisting an inning, Miguel Olivo had a walk with 2 outs in the Royals' 6-run 6th inning. That led to Alex Gordon's double, which tied the game, and Yuniesky Betancourt's single, which put the Royals in front by 2. Olivo, Gordon, and Betancourt in the 8th. Two balls, 2 strikes. Bowden was the Red Sox first-round pick in 2005, a supplemental first-round pick, and considered by at least one publication as the Red Sox number 2 prospect. Left side. And Lowell is there for the out. So Olivo 1 for 2 with 2 walks. And now Alex Gordon, who has driven in 2, singled home a run in the 4th inning and doubled home the tying run in the 6th. He has also been on base with a walk. A couple of first-round picks from the 2005 draft hooking up here. Good changeup. Not a very fluid motion for Bowden, but I could see where he'd be deceptive.
Yeah, he's kind of open, and it gives you a good look at the ball. You know, he said most times they don't get closed up and get that hip turn. It kind of comes right at you with his chest, and that was an excellent change up to Alex, but you should be able to see the ball out of his hand pretty good. Yeah, he stays open right there, but doesn't really get as close as you would like to see him get. But I think right now it's just more like say they just haven't seen him. I think that's what September does. It brings in pitchers that you haven't seen before, and it takes you a couple times to get used to them.
If the Royals score here, it'll be Rosa in the 9th. If the score stays the same, it'll be Soria. Joakim Soria got 5 outs yesterday in Chicago. Right center field. And Baldelli there for the 2nd out. Now, pitchers who have a nice fluid motion, they have that long arm swing where the arm goes back and forward, kind of in one nice fluid motion. He almost throws like a catcher, a nice little short arm where the ball kind of goes right to the ear and
right
then to the plate.
Ear, right. Yeah, basically when you start open like that, you really got to get that good hip turn, and so you can hide the ball a little bit more. But you're right, he's just right over the top, right behind that right ear.
Right now, Yuniesky Betancourt has the game-winning RBIs with 2 outs, a 2-run single, in the 6th inning. That made it 11-9. And then the Royals added a run in the 7th. And we go to the 9th inning. Joakim Soria trying to give the Royals a 3-run win. The 9th inning, and Alberto Callaspo moves over to 3rd. And Joakim Soria trying to save back-to-back games. Got his 26th yesterday. It required 5 outs. Tonight it'll be the lower third of the order with Lowell, Baldelli, and Gonzalez. Two career at-bats for Mike Lowell against Soria. 0 for 1 with a walk. 1-2.
So Joaquin's done a good job keeping that fastball in the outside corner.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Casey Kochman has moved to the on-deck circle, a left-hand batter, so he'll hit for Baldelli. One out. Got him with that power changeup.
That's a good changeup. You watch the action on it, you see how it just goes up and goes back down again, and that was enough to get Lowell to swing over the top of it.
So now Casey Kochman, who began the year with the Braves and then was traded over to the Red Sox at the deadline for Adam LaRoche. Adam LaRoche had just been acquired from the Pirates 9 days before they got Kochman. So he was a Red Sox player for 9 days and then back to the Braves where his big league career began. The strike zone stays the same.
Tight.
Now, this is where Tim McClellan is completely out of line, in my opinion. Nobody in the stadium knew that he said anything, that Miguel Olivo said anything to him, except for McClellan. And he has to make a big spectacle by putting his hands out to his sides, stopping the game so he can walk around to Olivo and show him up.
Yeah, normally if you don't turn around and look at the umpires, you're allowed to say pretty much what you want, as long as it's not derogatory. You can question call and location of pitches, as long as it's only just between you and the umpire. You don't turn around and look at him. And I agree with you, Ryan. That was totally out of line right there.
The only person in this ballpark that was impressed with that was Tim McClellan. Past Soria, Hernandez, bare hand. Butler with a tough pick. And Rusty loves it.
Well, you've been sitting around for 8 innings, and then you got to come off the bench and make a play like this. You got to go and pat him on the back and say, "Great play!" Not only on the bare hand catch, but the nice touch on the feed, and Billy being able to track it and stay with it. And he did a great job. CA threw it back to Billy's right, which is what he should have done. He throws his ball at Billy with his momentum going forward. He pulls Billy down the first base line. So Hernandez did everything right on that play.
And 0-1 to a pinch hitter, Josh Reddick, who spent most of the year in the minor leagues. Oh, and 2. One ball, 2 strikes. Lenny DiNardo went 5. He gave up 8 runs, 10 hits, but the offense bailed him out. Yabuda gave up 1 run. He's the pitcher of record. Jamie Wright, 2 scoreless. And now Soria trying to slam the door on the Red Sox in the 9th. Shallow right. In comes Bloomquist, and the Royals with an impressive come-from-behind victory. Down 6-0 and 8-2. The Royals scoring 10 runs in innings 5 through 7. And they improve.